If you would like to have an active rear wing like this on your Typhon 6S that looks like OEM, watch the video and you will see how to do it. To be able to 3D print it, you will need to purchase and download these STL files from Cults 3D. Links are in the description. As the first step, you will need to unscrew and remove these two screws. Then put the spoiler aside and then remove these 4 screws also. Take out these 2 spacers from between the spoiler holder. In this step, fasten the servo to the servo holder like this. Now, clip this whole part inside the spoiler holders, like this. Insert and then screw inside these M3 screws inside these mounting points. Next, insert this 3mm in diameter and 39mm long steel rod through this hole. Now, put the ball joint. On the ball joint from this side I use a little rubber O-ring, and from the other side as a spacer I use a little shrink tube. It should fit inside. Now push the rod through, and when you have it, close these holes with M4 worm screws from one side and from the other side. Okay. Now you will have to use M3 by at least 12mm long screws to mount it to the car. Let's route the servo wire to the receiver. Let's lead the servo wire under the rear brace. To prevent touching the servo wire with the rear axle, use a little zip tie so it holds up here. It is possible that your servo wire will not reach to your receiver. For that, we can use this servo wire extension so it reaches. Let's try to route the cable as low as possible so it does not touch in the center differential, to the gear of the center differential. So I push it here. Make sure there you don't touch with the gear, as I mentioned. Here we have a little bit of extra wire, so if you would like you can also use a little bit shorter extension. This extension we can connect to our receiver. My receiver is a FlySky BS6, so I will use channel 6 to set the angle of my wing later on. This wire which remains you can push under here, but also here we have to double check and make sure that it does not touch any mechanical parts, because we don't want any electrical issues in the future. Something like that. To make sure the servo extension wire does not touch to the front drive shaft, let's zip tie this little wire to the front brace. It can get a little bit tricky, but it is possible to be done. You will have to insert this M3 by 16mm long worm screw into this ball joint about half of its length. And now put the other ball joint from the other side. Keep it about 90° relative from each other, like this. To set up the wing, first turn on the transmitter and then the car. Now you can put channel 6 to 0. In this position the wing will be down. Now we can put the servo arm on the servo. Let's put it in a position where the ball joint, the linkage, aligns with the servo arm. Now we can fasten the screw. And the other screw. I like to use rubber O-rings on the ball joints both sides because it helps eliminate that play in the ball joint. It's not so important, but it gives a better quality touch to it. Okay, let's test the wing. Perfect. To fine-tune the angle on which your wing moves, you have to adjust the endpoints on the channel on which your wing servo is connected to. If you don't want as much movement, you can decrease it, so your wing will not move as high. I like it about here. The wing can now be mounted back onto the holder. Here is the result. Thank you for watching.